Only 2 casualties, though. That's actually providentially low for what you would expect on a voyage like this. And either way, 2 or what it was supposed to be, it's a pretty high case fatality rate for being a pilgrim on the Mayflower in the fall. Yet they pressed on, knowing that the risk to themselves, the risk to their loved ones was worth it, because liberty and obedience to God is as highly valued as life itself. Now here's a fun story. They made a children's book out of this one, The Boy Who Fell Off the Mayflower. Young John Howland was swept to sea and plunged over, certain to die. But right where he landed in the water, there was a line from the ship. He grabbed that line. The ship went up a wave and he swung aboard to safety. And 2 million people descend from John Howland, including 3 U.S. presidents, Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, the famous poet and author. That's pretty neat. As I thought about that, 2 million people owe their existence to that line being placed right there. So he was able to grab that instead of right here, a few feet, and he's dead. Pretty neat how God interposes in history. At another point in the voyage, an impossible crisis arose. At this point, the main beam of the ship cracked, and the ship starts taking on water. This means imminent and certain death. Shall we turn the ship around and head back? We're in the middle of the Atlantic. There's nothing you can do. Somebody brings forth a large iron screw. Historians say that was possibly for a jack for lifting roofs, or maybe part of a printing press. Either way, they found a screw and they repaired that main beam. And in William Bradford's words, so they committed themselves to the will of God and resolved to proceed. Wouldn't that make a great motto in our daily lives? That's right where we need to be. Are we committing ourselves to proceed and to follow God's will in our lives, no matter what crises come our way? Well, in the midst of this crisis, right after the beam event, William Bradford made mention of this in his book of Plymouth Plantation. That's where these quotes are coming from. That's a fantastic history of the Pilgrims written by William Bradford. He said this: although we have our differences, you think this is meaningful to us in our day? Although we have our differences aboard this ship, pilgrims and strangers, we are all God's children. And as such, we be but specks in this vastness of the ocean, but precious unto our Lord. And now together we are voyagers, pilgrims, and look to thine infinite mercy and providence. I guess you could say our world is enduring stormy seas too, that we're wickedly shaken. Seems our main beam is cracked. The foundations of stable society in so many ways are in peril. Do we have our differences today? He said, we have our differences, but we're all specks on this vast ocean. That's kind of how we feel right now too, isn't it? Can we say, like he said, that regardless of where we're coming from, we can view every human soul as part of the offspring of God, as we read earlier in the book of Acts, and reach out to others with charity, with peace, with tolerance, with mutual respect? Satan likes to sow division, hate, fear, violence even. Well, there's one thing to dispel all of that, and that is the cry of a newborn baby. There was a baby born on the ship. Can you imagine, ladies? This mother goes into labor on the Atlantic in the stormy seas in the cold, frigid fall. The cry of that newborn, they named him Oceanus. That's appropriate, isn't it? Is so emblematic to new birth and new life in the new world, isn't it? I find that to be so beautiful.